Hi, I'm Judi Friedman, and I'm chairperson of PACE, People's Action for Clean Energy. We're the largest all-volunteer grassroots organization working for safe energy in Connecticut. And we're very concerned about the health effects of energy. The cancer and asthma rates in our state are out of sight. And much of these problems come from the technologies we're using, fossil fuels, oil, coal, nuclear. Nuclear is not a fossil fuel, but that's a problem also. And we believe very much that renewable energy is where we need to go. Wind, solar, small hydro. We're very, very excited about energy efficiency. Europe is way ahead of us with their mass transit and their appliances being smaller, more energy efficient. Japan also. The Toyota Prius, as we all know, is going gangbusters, a great energy-saving car. And we need to work harder on this. One of our problems that we're very concerned about is nuclear energy. We think this is a very, very dangerous technology. Its wastes are lethal, a lethal legacy for thousands of generations. Our nuclear plants at Millstone are terrorist targets. I can't think of anything worse than a plane coming into Millstone. And these plants also emit radioactive isotopes as part of their routine emissions. But there's lots of good news. The good news is that many, many people realize these problems and are working hard to make change. And our guest today is a wonderful man, John Calandrelli, from the Sierra Club. And, of course, I'm a big fan, John, of the Sierra Club, have been for many, many years. Their national and state and local work has been just legendary, just wonderful. And I'm so glad that you've come to Connecticut and that you represent the Sierra Club. What is your job with the Sierra Club?
Well, my job is the state program director, which in the nonprofit world means you do 7 hats a day.
Well, I think it's sometimes 7 days a week too, right?
Sometimes, yes. The hours are different every day, which is a good thing. But that's the nature of the business.
I think one of the things I like about John so much is that he lives what he believes. He leaves a small footprint on this earth, and I greatly respect you, John, for not only talking the talk, but as they say, walking the talk. Can you tell me some of the things that you've done in your personal life to have a smaller energy footprint?
Well, there's a number of things, and working with a nonprofit, of course, I'm not going to be well off. So they're not expensive. They're easy to do. Things in the home were easy. Getting thermal curtains on the windows.
Okay, thermal curtains on the windows.
Putting in compact fluorescent light bulbs.
Changing your light bulb. And this is a compact
fluorescent. The easiest thing to do. Compact fluorescent light bulbs. I just actually put the first one aside for hazardous waste, because they are hazardous waste, after 6 years.
Wow.
That I've been using them. The first one just died.
The life of this was 6 years.
6 years of the first one, it just died. So I've had them for a while, and the first one just went. The biggest thing I did in my house, and I tracked over a couple-month period on my electric bill, was tracking the electric bill before and after I replaced the old refrigerator with a new one.
Oh, good for you.
Okay. My average monthly electric bill, this might sound small, but it's a very small house, went from 300 kilowatt hours a month down to 131.
Whoa.
In 1 month, just with one refrigerator.
And what was the refrigerator that you chose?
I have a Frigidaire 15 cubic foot, plenty big enough for the house, but it's brand new. It'll pay for itself in less than 2 years, because my average electric bill per month went from the mid-$60 range to $31 a month.
Is that an Energy Star appliance?
Yes. Yes.
So one thing people should try to do is to always buy Energy Star appliances, right?
Big difference.
And can they find out which ones are most energy efficient by going online?
Yes, yeah. You go on. There's a couple ways of going online. As they say now, the new verb, Google it. And You could put in energy-efficient refrigerators. It'll list literally dozens and dozens of refrigerators in category, by size or by brand, whatever you want. And mine was delivered, and the electric company who contracts with a recycler gave me $50 for the old one.
Wow.
And I came and picked up the old one right out of my garage. So
another win-win.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got thermal curtains, you've changed your light bulbs, you've gotten a much more energy-efficient refrigerator. What else have you done? Have you done something else?
Without doing anything on my part, I switched the oil-burning furnace over to biodiesel. No modification necessary, whatever. It's a B20 mix.
You are burning biodiesel fuel now?
Right.
What percentage biodiesel?
It's 20%.
B20.
B20, right.
So if you talk about B20 biodiesel, it means you're mixing biodiesel fuel 20% with regular household heating oil, right?
It's a low sulfur number 2 diesel oil, similar, to all heating for homes, with 20% vegetable oil, which in this case is soybean vegetable oil, made right here in Connecticut.
Now, I've heard that this is better for the machines than the just 100% oil. Is that true?
Well, with the 100% oil, you'd have to do modifications to your tank and
no, but
or
I mean
your
the normal oil, that adding a little bit of
yes.
biodiesel makes the machine is helpful to the machine.
The vegetable oil is a natural cleanser.
Ah.
So you have the furnace serviced before delivery, and you'll notice after 2 to 3 years that the furnace and all its parts are so much cleaner than from the use of a typical home heating oil. There's 3 filters that it runs through, and you'll notice they're a lot cleaner over time. Now, I have forced air heating, which means just heated air forced through ducts. It's not radiators like a lot of people have. Okay, that's the biggest difference to using biodiesel when you have that kind of heating, because there's like virtually no smell. You don't get that oil smell when the heat goes on. It's about 75% cleaner than just normal 100% oil.
Well, it probably is healthier to breathe too then.
Sure, much.
Wow, isn't that wonderful? Now, where in the world, if someone wants to purchase B20, that's a part biodiesel, home heating fuel, where would they go?
They can call up Hale Hill Farms. They're in Portland, Connecticut. They're homegrown, literally, pun intended. They do deliver. I had it delivered about early October. At the time, it was in the high 240s, 250 a gallon. Now, in my house, I have triple heating. I have a couple electric heaters if I just need to heat a little space, not the whole house. I have a wood-burning stove if the power goes out, and I have the biodiesel in the furnace. So I use about 75 gallons of biodiesel a winter. So that delivery will last me until 2008.
That's wonderful.
So that also saves a lot of money.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you're helping the environment. Sure. What is the biodiesel fuel made from? Soybeans?
In this case, it's, soybean.
Well, does Hale Hill Farm grow the soybeans on their farm?
Yes, they grow the soybeans here, and then they're mixing it with the low sulfur number 2
Well, to me, another exciting part of this technology is that we're helping to make farmland profitable. And I believe Connecticut is losing a lot of farmland, and if we could switch to growing biodiesel fuel, isn't that a very exciting idea?
It's a good piece of the puzzle, like I always say. To save the world is not going to be the job of one person. It's going to take all of us. Well, in the energy efficiency realm, it's a big puzzle, and it's a big piece of the puzzle is homegrown biodiesel fuel. It's not the be-all to end-all, but yes, we lose 9,000 acres of farmland a year in Connecticut.
We lose 9,000 acres of farmland per year in this state.
Yeah, we're faster rate.
How do we lose it? What's happening to it?
Well, by our tax system, it just gets uneconomically feasible, if that's the right phrase to use, for farmers to keep going. It's a lot better for them to sell it off for development and retire. Where we need to change the tax system for farms to keep them. We're having some luck here with our goal of saving over 600,000 acres of farmland by 2010. We're almost two-thirds of the way there.
Whose goal are we talking about now?
The state of Connecticut, working with the Working Lands Alliance, which is an alliance of nonprofits, have been doing a lot of good getting grant money to save farms with purchase of their development rights, et cetera, to get them to keep farming, make it economically viable to keep farming. So,
with the rising cost of oil, that's going to mean a rise in food prices and even maybe difficulty in obtaining food. So isn't Connecticut farmland becoming more valuable than ever because of the rising oil prices? Aren't we going to be really glad to be able to have local farms even more than we have?
Definitely. Matter of fact, there's a couple things that are showing that in Connecticut. One is the rise of, hopefully, mostly organic farms doing CSA, community-supported agriculture, where you buy a sort of stock in the farm to buy so much vegetables per summer when they're grown at local farmers markets. They're growing in popularity. And number two is the growing popularity of inner-city urban gardens. There's over 160 now in the Hartford County area alone.
Urban gardens, you mean people farming in the city, raising vegetables in the city?
Cleaning up, remediating brownfield sites. In Connecticut.
Like in what cities?
Mostly right now it's in New Haven and Hartford areas. Wonderful. There are some other ones in the Norwich area. There's a good one. There's many from the Knox Foundation in Hartford is a guardian over many of them, where kids learn to farm. They have a safe place to go. They have a clean place to go. And they sell off the produce to local restaurants and local people. So they're really growing in popularity. So those things are showing that people are starting to get it. You're right, that the average meal is going to travel about 1,500 miles to your plate to get to Connecticut. So that Caesar salad is a 1,500-mile salad, okay? So people are starting to get it, and when they realize that those oranges you get aren't really $5 for $1. That's a subsidized price.
Yeah.
So if those subsidies come off, they're going to really get scared and jolted into the reality that we need to have more local farms.
Right. And people could do gardening at home, too, which is a great idea, and relearning to can and drying food, some of the things we've lost, but may turn out to be very smart talents that people can employ as the rising oil prices affect our food. And the good news about Connecticut farms is that the food tastes better.
Oh, definitely.
Right? It isn't so tired by the time it gets here.
And well, when you go to a local restaurant that uses local produce, you'll notice fresh tastes better. Why can't I get this to taste like this at home? I got the recipe. That's why. Fresh tastes better.
Well, I know how tired I am if I fly to California, so think about a head of lettuce.
On a truck for days, yes.
It's really tired.
Yeah.
What else have you done to your home or in your lifestyle that creates a smaller footprint?
Well, on the outside of the home, I took out half the driveway of asphalt.
Wow.
Okay, that...
How?
By hand.
Dug it up?
By an axe and chopped it, and then took a pry bar and pulled up the pieces of asphalt. That gives me less impervious surface, so I planted, more good fill, and that gives the groundwater more recharge. I also planted the evergreens towards the north side of the house. I covered the north side of the house with the evergreens, so in the winter, that blocks some of the north winds. It keeps my energy bill down.
Now, you didn't plant any evergreens in the south side of your house, right?
No, they were only low bushes like yew trees, which will make a hedge. But the south side of the house has got a couple deciduous trees, which, of course, lose their leaves in the winter when the sun is low, and when the sun is high, the sun can be over it on the south side of the house. Just like here, as you can see behind us, one of the things that clean energy covers is more than windmills and, of course, solar panels, is planting trees, planting a lot of trees. And so I've done that with evergreens in the front yards.
Unless you have a solar site and you need the sunlight.
On the south side. Right. But on the north side, especially where I am, near Massachusetts, and the cold north winds blow in January, it kind of cozies up the house, and without hiding it, but it blocks a lot of the winds.
So
it keeps my energy bills
down.
down.
You're using trees to help you. Evergreens on the north and deciduous or low bushes on the south.
Right. Yeah.
Very clever. What else? What other? And tell me about the driveway too. Now, an impervious driveway is something like asphalt, and the rain cannot permeate the driveway, so it runs off and collects and causes problems. But if you have a surface where the water can drain down, then you don't have these terrible, water problems?
Well, one of the things that it does is the impervious surfaces that we have gives pollutants that we put on, whether we like it or not, an expressway right down to our surface waters. Mother Nature.
Now, can you explain how that happens? It rains, it falls on the asphalt, and then what?
Did you ever go through the parking lot at a mall? Well, no, I don't go to malls very much, but after the rain, you see those nice, pretty rainbow colors of all those toxins going right down the storm drains? We're giving those toxins the easy path right to the surface waters, and it's a lot harder to clean up the waters instead of keeping them.
We're sending toxins down into surface water, meaning what? Rivers, lakes,
and streams.
And
eventually everything ends up in Long Island Sound if it doesn't end up in a lake, which is tied to our groundwater, of course. So that's one of the things that impervious surfaces do. Now, what that also tells you is that when you don't have impervious surfaces, you have like a gravel driveway or something, and there is a toxin that's spilled. It's just amazing how Mother Nature takes our toxins and gives us back life.
In what way do you mean that?
She filters the toxins out before it can get to the groundwater. Now, unfortunately, we're putting more in than she can handle sometimes. Okay, but I'll give you a perfect example. The bracken fern, which is not indigenous here in Connecticut, but it's a fern, like most ferns people would have in their mind, thrives on arsenic.
Really? A fern
that
thrives on arsenic?
You know,
wow.
Now, arsenic is naturally occurring. We put it in places where we shouldn't have it in our lives. But that shows you the power of Mother Nature. And that's why impervious surfaces we have to cut down on. Because it's just like pouring the toxins into the stream instead of giving them a little break before they get there.
I know in our town in Canton we've had a mall built, and there are now new recommendations that only a certain part of the driveways can be covered with asphalt, and that's very good. That's a new regulation and something that people can fight for in their towns to make them more environmentally friendly.
It's also, believe it or not, a fight against global warming.
Why?
The more asphalt that we have, the more it adds to the heat island effect in towns. It just absorbs heat. Matter of fact, if you want to see, you've always walked across a hot parking lot.
Can you fry an egg on it?
You fry your feet, in the summertime, and you have to step on the little yellow line so you don't get your feet burned. It really is a heat sponge, and radiates it back out during the night. So we get these heat island effects. So it's going to get worse as global warming progresses. The other thing is, if you really want to see how toxic it is, you don't notice it because it's so omnipresent in our life. Tear up part of your driveway or take up some of asphalt that's been put on gravel and turn it over and look at the bottom. It's still oily and toxic and nasty. It never goes away. It's not, the top looks all dry and clean after years of use. It's not like that underneath. It's really nasty stuff. It stinks, and you can tell.
You've done great things. Also, I think I know you well enough to know that your lifestyle also, you found one of your pleasures is not shopping.
Non-shopping, yes.
So you live lightly and curb consumption and try to consume in a wise way. Is that true?
Yeah. When it comes down to it, I don't want to give the impression that everybody's got to panic over every little decision.
Right.
You don't have to do that. But it does come down to a way of thinking, and a lot of times that's very difficult to change over time. I'll give you a perfect example. Don't worry, I'm not armed. The pen is mightier than the sword. This is a perfect example. You know how old this pen is? About 14 years old.
It's
refillable. How many people carry refillable pens nowadays?
Wow.
So how many pens do you throw out? You don't even think about it. They're just everywhere, right?
Oh, yes.
It's like toothbrushes.
Right.
We throw out about 400,000 toothbrushes a day in the United States.
Oh.
So my toothbrush, you keep the handle for life, you just replace the little end.
Where can you get something like that?
I get it at the grocery store.
You get...
At the grocery store.
You get what at the grocery store?
You get toothbrushes. They're different softnesses, just like all toothbrushes, but you keep the handle for life. You just replace the end.
And where's the end sold? At the
grocery store. You can buy packs of 3 and it'll last forever.
I never knew that.
Sure.
What a great idea.
Each end will last you a couple of years, maybe at the most.
That toothbrush you throw away probably will last longer than you or I will.
Oh, much longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a petroleum product,
Yeah, how long plastic takes to break down.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm going to go right to the grocery store and buy the
It's just
right
a way of
kind
thinking. It's just
Absolutely.
a way of thinking when you look for it. You don't have to freak
but
out
some
about it.
But some people aren't aware of what's out there to choose from.
Sure. Yeah.
But you're right. Thinking, talking, listening to programs like this is very helpful.
Yeah. And one of the things I always say, before you ask yourself, is this a recyclable product? Is it fair trade? Is it organic? Can it be recycled again? Before all those questions, ask yourself, do I really need it in the first place? Go out and live life. You don't need the stuff,
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's a way of thinking.
I think we're confusing needs and wants, too.
Yeah,
People say, I need that, when they really mean, I want it.
There's a big difference between need and want. And I'm not saying that everybody is the same. Of course, everybody's different. But the ever-present SUV is a very good example. Try an experiment. Consciously, as you drive around, when you have to drive around, for a week, count or keep track of all the SUVs you see on the road, any road, highway or not, and then find out what percentage of them are empty when you're looking at them. There's only a driver. You'll see about 95 to 98% of the time it's one person driving an empty SUV. Sometimes you're going to find ones loaded for a camping trip or something, but it's rare. So I mean that you're right. There's a big difference between need and want.
Well, those are great suggestions. Now, also, you're showing some other ideas here. Can you tell us a little about this chart?
Sure. Clean energy, when we talk about it, you could sign up, by the way, for clean energy on your electric bill. If you're a UI customer or a CL&P customer, that's easy. You don't change anything. Your electricity doesn't change, your light don't change. But you can choose between two of these companies now that supply clean energy to the grid.
Okay, John's talking about the new green energy sign-up. Very, very, very important. Easy to do. Costs a very small amount more. And if everyone did that in Connecticut, what would happen? What if everyone signed up in Connecticut? Would we have cleaner air?
Sure. We're trying to get our Sierra Club members to sign up. If you can't get Sierra Club members to sign up, that's not good. The two companies, I'll give them a shameless plug, Sterling Planet and Community Energy, have wind power, landfill, natural gas areas around the east coast of the United States. It tells you on your bill. You can get it from your electric company. And it will tell you about how much it's going to cost per kilowatt hour. Now, in my house, which is a fairly small house, it costs me about a little under $3 a month to choose the 100% option. So less than the price of coffee.
Okay, people are going to say, well, I don't want to give up CL&P. I don't want to give up UI. What do you say to that?
You're not.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You still have the CL&P UI. They're still the transmitters. What you're doing is that extra couple dollars a month goes to support new clean energy projects. It's almost like a subsidy, except it's not the federal government doing it, to build more wind farms, to build more landfill natural gas, or in some cases small hydro here in New England.
This is something anyone who uses electricity can purchase this clean energy option?
And you can opt out at any time. You don't have to stay on it forever. You're not signing any contracts. And all it is a form that you get with your electric bill. And we even have them online at the Sierra Club website, Connecticut.sierraclub.org. Give them a plug. You can download the form right from our website if you want.
Or you can look at Connecticut CT Clean Energy Options.
Sure.
You can Google
you can do that.
That's another thing to do. Be sure you say options.
That's true. Now, the point was that clean energy is even more than that. It's a very big umbrella. Here you have different types of mixed-use development. There's a good example in Vermont, up there in the right-hand corner.
What does mixed use mean?
Mixed use means that in places where people can be closer to where they work, in this case in Vermont here, they show small town retail with either apartments or condos above, where the mortgages are split.
It might be 1 minute.
Yeah, you could go right downstairs. Or if you needed to shop for something and the stores around there have the stuff that you use, like grocery stores, you can walk to the store down the street.
Isn't this a lot like the old European cities? Weren't they very much like this with the retail down?
Yeah, you're right there, but actually a lot closer to home. I know a man who's been doing this kind of work for about 35 years, and when he gets into a town, he asks the people of all kinds, a cross-section of people, what they would like their town to look like if they could grow to a certain point, and what they want in their town. And they make little models of it, and they take all their suggestions down, and they put it through a computer model and give them a report at the end. He says, been doing it for 35 years. He says, every single time, no matter if it's a town in Crete off Greece or Denver, Colorado, the result is the same. A 1930s village. We've had it here in the United States.
1930s
it was very common.
Village is kind of the ideal lifestyle It's friendly. You have could get what you need.
And we didn't separate zoning like we did after World War II.
Uh-huh.
When the GI Bill came and the so-called American dream really boomed in the 50s, we started separating things like this. Now people are learning, well, that's costing us more than we thought. So they're starting to get back to this in some towns. That's green. Clean energy is also your cars. My 1995 Honda still gets 42 miles to the gallon.
Wow.
Okay, it's not as energy efficient as the new ones, but
pretty good.
And it fits a lot of stuff in the back of the car. This whole panel here fit in the back of the car. Solar panels are obvious. Look at that light rail in Western Australia. That's in Perth.
Wonderful.
Cleaner energy because it carries more people cleaner. Recycling. Recycling is a form of clean energy. Recycling one aluminum can, which is fairly easy to do nowadays, saves enough energy to run your TV for 3 hours.
Wow.
And that's just one can.
Wow.
Now here you see a picture of, these are over I took in Dublin, Ireland. They have these recycle bins at every convenience store, which we don't have. And those are not trash cans on the street. Those are recycle bins. Somebody comes and picks those up. Planting trees, we mentioned before, light bulbs, bicycles. Can't get much cleaner than that. It's the most efficient mode of transportation bipedal humans can do. Is really solar panels you know about. So there are many things under the umbrella of clean energy that everybody can do. And you don't have to be, the super rich, the elite. They're real simple and fast. So there's a lot of things online. There's a lot of things at the Connecticut Sierra Club. We do this educationally all over the state. So come to us. We've got a lot of ideas. We want to plug books like this one that go literally A to Z, little and big things you could do in everyday life that not only save the planet and save you a lot of money.
Well, there's another element to another component, I think. These ideas help others, help the future, and there's a feel-good, there's an emotional component, I think, to living carefully and living wisely and living with good values.
Oh, yeah.
I think I wonder if it doesn't even maybe affect health, perhaps.
Oh, sure. Yeah, because the number one thing in the United States is stress.
Yes.
And one of the things that all humans need is a feeling of contribution in some way, whether it's family, whether it's town, or the whole world. You want to feel like you contributed. And that's one of the things that this does.
Well, John, you're a very interesting guest, and bringing up the idea of stress is a very good one, because if I lived here, in many ways there would be a lot less stress. I wouldn't have to worry about driving my car accidents as much, and it's just friendlier, and I could talk to someone easily if I were feeling something about a problem. Stress is also alleviated by exercise, so if we could bicycle safely, that would definitely ease our stress levels. Much of our pollution is noisy. Solar panels are absolutely quiet. Windmill like that I've stood next to in Denmark, very quiet, no problem. So there's and not having to take your car, but having efficient mass transit is stress reducing. So.
And when all these are good for your pocketbook,
yes,
there's a lot less financial stress.
Yes,
so that's important for somebody like me who works at a nonprofit.
Wonderful. Well, you're just a wonderful person and a wonderful guest, and the Sierra Club is very, very fortunate to have you in Connecticut, and we're very fortunate to have you in Connecticut. You're a great asset. Asset to our wonderful state. So thank you for being with PACE, People's Action for Clean Energy, on another show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Judy.
Take care.